Hi, Dale coming to you from my temporary garage again. And if you do any DIY around the house, you're going to come across a time where you need to do some caulking. In this video, I'm going to show you a couple of quick tips that's going to be able to let you use your caulking gun to get your caulking tube ready for use. Come on, let's go. The first thing you're going to need to do is cut the tip off of your caulk tube. Many of you probably go for your razor blade and you cut it like this. While this works just fine, there's an easier way to do this built into most caulking guns. I learned this about 2 years ago, and ever since, this is what I use to cut the tips off of my tubes. If you look closely at this hole right here, as you squeeze the trigger, you'll notice that there's a razor blade that sweeps right across. Simply insert the tip of your caulking tube into the hole at whatever angle you want, give it a squeeze, and it makes a perfect cut every time. This tip works even on these little squeeze tubes. No problem. When cutting the hole in the tip, make it just big enough for the bead of caulk that you need. The more you put out, the messier it gets. That's tip number one. Tip number two, a lot of you might already know, but there may be a few of you out there that don't. Before you can use that caulking tube, you've got to puncture a hole in the seal. Most of us used to grab for that 10-penny nail, but now most caulking guns, they have a tool built in. If you look toward the end of the barrel of a caulking gun, you'll see a little metal rod. All you need to do is swing it forward, take your caulking tube, poke it through. Now it's ready to be used. And one last tip is when you buy a caulking gun, buy one that has an auto tension release. Some of the really cheap ones don't, and so when you're squeezing the trigger and you get to the end and you release, the tension does not automatically release and it keeps spewing out caulk out of the tip. This one, with the auto tension release, as soon as I'm done squeezing the trigger, it stops ejecting any caulk. That is what you want because it makes for a much cleaner seam and you do not make as big as a mess. Here's an example. I'm going to be pushing a lot of caulk out, and notice as soon as I let go of the trigger, the caulk will stop coming out of the tube. So save yourself a mess, spend a couple of extra dollars for an auto tension release gun and you'll be happy. They're not really that much more. I bought this gun for about $7 on Amazon. I hope at least one of those tips were new to you, and if so, smash that like button. And if you think anyone you know would benefit from this, share it. It helps my channel more than you may know. And if you think I've earned it, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified of any new video that I put out. Until next time, see ya.